Hi, I'm Laura from Fashion Toolbox, your go-to space for all things 3D fashion, CLO3D training and digital product development. In this video, I'm exploring another huge update in CLO3D 2025, and that is the new Pattern Drafter tool, which kind of replaces the old Parametric Pattern feature, but it's more of an improvement than it is a replacement. So there's some really nice new updates here. This tool now allows you to create patterns from scratch using body measurements. Those can be imported from a template. You can also import CAD references or even generate blocks using AI prompts. So this is really a huge leap forwards for anyone working in digital pattern cutting, and I am really excited to try it out. And let's dive in and take a look. Okay, so here we are in the CLO3D 2025 version, and the Pattern Drafter is just underneath the 2D menu across the top, and it is the first one just there. When you select on the Pattern Drafter, that will load up a new tab. Like the Parametric Pattern, it would automatically be populated with some measurements. Here it's blank. So when you first come into it, it's a little bit like, oh my gosh, what's happened? There's nothing here. But you just have to select from the presets up here before anything comes up. At the moment there are only t-shirts in here, but there are more coming soon, so that's something that I'm really excited about. Hopefully more like trousers and dresses and things like that we can use with the parametric pattern. So all that we have is t-shirts, but then we have a few different drop downs that we can use. We can have setting, raglan and a drop shoulder. So I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment with the raglan, and then I'm going to show you a style that I have pre-uploaded some measurements into for a setting sleeve. So if I select on the raglan, then this style will come up automatically with all of the basic measurements that have been imported from CLO. Now, one thing to note before you get started, make sure that you have loaded in an avatar, and an avatar in the size that you want. I've loaded my avatar in an 18, as close to the Alvin size 18 as I can possibly get. And then I am going to enter some measurements into here just to show you how the pattern changes. Now, these are just going to be off the top of my head kind of numbers, nothing realistic, so don't judge me for this until we get to the next stage where it is more realistic pattern measurements. The reason that the patterns have been set like this was a decision from CLO, so that you can see how the patterns are working together. Once you click on create, the top and the sleeve separate, and you can then work on them a little bit more, refine them a little bit more individually. So you can work your way down through the measurements. Like, say we want to make this a little bit shorter, let's say we want to go for 45. It will instantly change, and it will do the front and the back separately. So you can see at the moment it's just changed the front and not the back. Then I can go ahead and change the neck width. Maybe I want to have this a little bit wider, so I'll go for like an 18. And I might want to increase the neck drop a little bit as well. Go for a 10, or maybe that's a little bit too much. Go for a 9. Then it does show you as well, with each measurement that you select, there's a little dashed line to indicate where the measurement is. So if you're going from another pattern that you've got, or you're going from a physical garment that you want to recreate, then you can use those measurements and you can input them here. So you can just keep working your way through and updating all of those measurements as you go. And you can see some drastic changes depending on what you input here. To go for something like that, I'm going to increase this measurement here, the across bust. So with every single change that you make, the pattern will change in the window. I'm going to increase this a little bit as well. So let's go for 48 here. And then the raglan front. So this is the measurement for where the raglan sleeve will sit at the front. You might want to maybe increase that ever so slightly. So it's on 22.6 at the moment. It doesn't look too crazy, but we might want to increase if it's going to sit on a larger size. So I'm going to say 26. And then the hem sweep for the bottom, I'm going to have it quite boxy, so I'm going to keep it around like the same kind of measurement as the bust. Might go for like 53. And then you can work your way through the back measurements, so they're all like boxed together quite nicely. So you've got your front body, your back body, and then your sleeve, and then there's additional, if you want to add on like cuffs to that, front hem, back hem, you can add those separately as well. So I'm going to increase the length slightly of this one because I shortened the front, so I'm going to shorten the back a little bit as well. So I'm going to say 49 on the back. Neck width, I will increase that as well. So we'll go for 18 again. The neck drop, I'm going to have this a little bit lower than, just a tiny bit than what it was. Across back, I need to increase this a little. So let's say 35 across the back. Okay, so once all of the measurements are in, all of the patterns will be as your measurements, and all you need to do is click on create. They will then separate, as I mentioned, they become attached to your cursor, and you can just drop them down in your 2D window wherever feels right. Then if we go back to our actual 3D window, that will all be placed on your avatar, and it's automatically sewn as well. The only thing that I would recommend here is the placement isn't always exactly perfect, so best to just adjust it just ever so slightly to try and avoid any collision. I'm just going to move these around just a little bit, move it up, move it out, and the same for the back. I'll move that up and move that out. The sleeve is probably going to be a little bit long, to be honest, but we'll see how that sits once it's simulated. So once everything is positioned how you would like it, I would just really recommend to spend a little bit of time making sure that the sleeves are in the right place, just because if they are not overlapping here, if the stitching can't meet, when you simulate, it will just fall off the arm and it won't be sat on the arm at all. So best to try and get those positioned as well as you possibly can before simulating. So I can already see that there's a few issues with this pattern, but it's never guaranteed that it's going to be a production ready pattern. There is always tweaks that you are going to need to make, but it is a really good starting block for you to get going with any t-shirt shape, or for any top shape for that matter. You could just use this as your block and then adapt it further to create whatever you are looking for. So that is manual creation. You can also, if I go back into here, I'm going to change this back to the setting. And I've measured a really boxy t-shirt that I've got, and I'm going to recreate that now. So I have taken all of the measurements of that top, I've inputted them into the download format, which is a CSV file. So in that CSV file that you download, if you press save here, it will download as a CSV file. You can enter all of your measurements into that, which is basically an Excel, and then you just click to open that folder. It just pops up a warning just to let you know that it has to be a particular file format. Yes, that's fine. I've used the format. I've done my own here, and then if I click open, you see that that will automatically adjust this new block that it has created at the bottom here. Then all I have to do is click create, drop that down. I'm just going to go back and delete out this raglan. Let's move these out up a little bit. And I'm going to simulate, but there are a couple of changes that I want to make on this I am aware of already. For example, the armhole is way too small on the sleeve, and the bottom of the sleeve here is too wide, but this is just because this area here is too narrow. So if you want to make any changes, you can go back to your pattern drafter, and it does generate a new pattern that then you will have to replace this one with, but it is just super quick and easy. So I'm going to adjust the cap height to be 5.5 on my new block, so the changes are happening down here. I'll just move this up a little bit. And the cap height, the cap width from the cap height, I'm going to change this to 45. And then the bicep width, I'm going to have as 56. So this is a little bit more closer to my actual t-shirt garment that I have. So I'm going to click on create then. Go back, delete this pattern out. I'm going to move this one up just so it's positioned better. And then I might want to move these around a little bit, but to be honest, they will simulate pretty fine anyway as they are. Let's try simulating at that. So this is very much like the t-shirt that I have. It's very boxy. It does rise up like this at the front, so it's very accurate. It is not the best garment that I could have chosen, but it was a good one to replicate for sure. It does have a neck binding on it, which is why the neckline is so wide. So if I was going ahead and editing this further, I would make further adaptations to make sure that the armholes are matching, the measurements are correct here. I would add on the neck binding, and then I could go ahead and personalize it a little bit more depending on what I'm looking for. I could correct that balance at the side there if I wanted to, because it does go up and then scoops down and up again, so it's not perfectly balanced. There is definitely a lot that we could do to improve this, but as a starting block you can see how great it is at actually achieving that shape and that look that you are looking for, and then you can just go ahead and refine it. So that is from measurements. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other tools in the pattern drafter. We have had a look at all of the measurements, either manually entering them in here or exporting out and loading in from a CSV. You can also create via the AI, which is just here, AI pattern drafter, and there are two options in here. You've got one from an image prompt and you've got one from a text prompt. So with the image prompt, you can load in any CAD, black and white preferred, so that the detail can be seen by CLO. And all that you need to do once you have uploaded in your file is click on generate, and it will try and match as close as possible to that CAD that you have uploaded. So I'm going to load in a different version here. So I've got this long basic boxy t-shirt. As soon as I click generate, CLO will read that image and it will try and match the pattern and the measurements as close as possible. So we can close this window and then we can go in and further refine some of this detail. Just to note as well, you can have the symmetry and the half symmetry. If it's half symmetry, it's on the fold, so it's opened out. There's no seam down the front or the back. If it has the symmetry on, then it will have the seam. So just bear that in mind as well, depending on what you are trying to achieve. If you want to have the seam or you don't want to have the seam, you can toggle those on or off. So I'm going to generate this exactly as it is, drop it down. Let's take a look at how it looks in the 3D window. And then we can go ahead and make further adjustments to refine that. But it does look a pretty good match to the original CAD that I uploaded. You can do long sleeve as well in here, I could load in a long sleeve version. So with this long sleeve version, I can generate from this. It will automatically bring in a pattern. I can make adjustments if I like, and then I can click create. Delete that one out. Just adjust this a little bit because it doesn't look perfectly aligned. Have to bear in mind here as well that the automatic measurements will probably be for the base size, and I have a size 18 avatar in here, which is not ideal. We would have to be changing the measurements to suit whatever body size we want rather than sticking with the default. So it's not bad, it's not done a bad job at all. I would need to adapt this to better suit my avatar proportions. And also I would want to increase the sleeve length as well. Because of the cuff that it had on this sleeve, it's recognised it as being a like 3/4 sleeve. So it's chopped off so far up the arm. So we would just need to increase the length or add a cuff to actually support that. But not bad at all. Let's take a look at the last one, which is the prompt. I'm going to go for a drop shoulder style here. And then I'm going to go to this prompt window. We only have t-shirts here, more coming soon. But now we can state in here so once you are happy with your prompt, click generate. So it will load in an image, and like in a CAD format, in a flat format. This isn't ideal. It's got a bit of movement in the flat, which I always worry about how that will be recognized by the system. We can give it a go and see, but if you're not happy with what's been generated, just click on generate again and it will try and do something different. I'm going to click generate here to see what it does. Let's have a look at what brings back. Okay, so it's not too bad. It looks okay. We could go ahead and refine that with our measurements now. Adjust some of these. Or if you wanted to adapt it further, we've got all of the same AI prompts that we have in the AI pose generator. So you can choose to do a random prompt. So here we've got like a V-neck, short raglan sleeve, loose fit and cropped. Can generate that and see how that looks. You've got the keywords and you've got the pin to generate a similar, maintaining the prompt to generate a similar result. So you can pin that prompt, just regenerate to see what comes up. I'm going to generate from this text prompt. Okay, this again, it's got a bit too much movement in it for me for a CAD, for a flat, but let's go with it. Let's generate. So we have the pattern there in our window. I'm going to create this without making any adjustments, and I'm going to delete this one out. Let's take a look how this one looks. Again, measurements will not be exactly to the size that I have, so bear that in mind. But it doesn't look too bad, and from the prompt that we gave, I don't think that is a bad interpretation at all. Definitely a couple of adaptations that I would want to make to this underarm area and how it's flaring out here, but it's not bad at all. Okay, so that is everything on the Pattern Drafter tool, which is, as I think you will agree, pretty impressive. There are adaptations that you will need to make to your patterns. It will never be 100% correct for production. It will always need your input, whether that be to make pattern adjustments, measurements, or to just check that everything sews together and fits together as it should. There will always be adaptations that you need to make, but it's pretty impressive. Really impressed with it. It's really fun too, so it's definitely worth giving it a go. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like my content. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave in the comments below. And if there is anything that you would like to see me do in CLO or any other software, just drop a comment and I will be more than happy to respond. Thank you so much. Give me a like, a follow and subscribe, and I will see you soon.